The battle for Fort David was only the first step in the RLF's invasion of North America. Its success would allow the RLF campaign to secure Central America to continue, while its failure would force the RLF on the defensive and give the elites an opportunity to seize the initiative. While the operation was coined the Battle for Fort David, the aim of the RLF was to reach and capture Tegucigalpa. Capturing Tegucigalpa and the Mexican-occupied territories to itself would allow the RLF to complete several key strategic objectives. 1. Securing safe passage over the Panama Canal. By occupying the southmost end of the Mexican runway network, the RLF would push the elite's air force out of range of the canal. 2. Capture of Fort David. The capture of Fort David would provide a fortified location where the RLF army could safely group and prepare for future operations north of Panama. Accomplishing both these objectives would allow the RLF to operate in North America with ease, while denying the elites the option to sink RLF troop convoys while they are vulnerable on the canal. On top of this, striking close to home would also decrease the pressure on the Caribbean. Early in the hours of Day 12, the RLF gathered intel and met. Skybadger was appointed the leader of this operation, due to the operation's heavy reliance on the South Argentinian Navy. The following is the plan and timeline written by Skybadger to ensure the invasion would run smoothly. The operation was broken down into 5 phases. The first is scouting. Here, RLF aircraft, in particular naval bombers, will be launched to scout out the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Panama. These aircraft will be scouting for enemy ships and subs. Phase 2 would see that information put to use and to clear the area of elite naval assets. Phase 3 would put the RLF Air Force to use by striking elite troops in Fort David, shifting the elite Air Force's attention away from Panama and providing air cover to the convoys if their presence is noticed. In Phase 4, Fort David will be captured by the first wave of RLF troops. These troops, under the Skybadger's command, will then regroup and prepare to head north to Tegucigalpa. The last phase, Phase 5, will see All-American, North Brazil, Rog, East Amazonas, reinforced with a second and much larger wave of troops. With a plan down, the RLF set it into motion. Early on Day 12, RLF naval bombers launched under the cover of interceptors to start collecting intelligence. While scouting occurred, King Congo and Mattis, the leaders of North Argentina and Texas, engaged the elites in the skies of Central America for the first time. King Congo took this opportunity to learn about the elites' tactics while upskilling Mattis in the tactics the RLF would use to counter. The first day of fighting saw both sides taking losses. The RLF lost 5 interceptor and 2 tactical bomber squadrons, while the elites lost 5 interceptors and 5 tactical bomber squadrons of their own. On a tactical level, the RLF had won the first day of engagements by a very slim margin, while also claiming a strategic victory by acquiring the necessary information to proceed with the invasion. Having acquired a high level of situational awareness, the first wave of RLF troops boarded their ships and departed from the west coast of South America, and were ordered to head towards the Caribbean. This was an act of deception that would cover the true purpose of the convoys until they began to disembark at Fort David. While this occurred, the RLF Navy, headed by Skybadger, moved into position and ripped control of the Gulf of Panama from the elites in a swift and stunning blow, thus completing Phase 1 and 2. Under the cover of darkness, the RLF Air Force took to the skies to complete the 2 objectives designated in Phase 3, these being the destruction of the garrison position in Fort David and the distraction of the elite Air Force. To destroy the garrison in Fort David, the RLF Air Force under the command of King Congo employed cunning strategy and the best tricks in the book. King Congo requested the North Brazilian Air Force, under All-American's control, to the west coast of David. Here, All-American's planes would strike Fort David before quickly retreating and regrouping east over the sea. By centering the patrol zone of his aircraft over the ocean, with only the edge overlapping with the garrison of Fort David, King was able to make the aircraft appear invisible to the enemy, while still dealing damage. The South Mexican troops did not know what had hit them, and they quickly requested air cover from the Albertan Air Force, which promptly arrived in force. However, the Albertan Air Force was distracted by multiple RLF raids and was patrolling too far to the east and did not even witness the next few attacks by All Americans pilots. Harrow, the leader of the Albertan Air Force, quickly caught on and patrolled his planes closer to the sea, thus revealing the North Brazilian planes. Before they could take any damage, the North Brazilian Air Force returned to base. Immediately, King Congo ordered the South Argentinian Air Force to employ the same strategy. However, the South Argentinian planes were quickly spotted by the patrolling Albertan airmen. But due to the fact no official declaration of war had been made between South Argentina and Alberta, the Albertan airmen did not attack the South Argentinians, thus allowing a major blow to be dealt to Fort David. By the time Harrow declared war, the damage was done. The garrison had been reduced to one light tank brigade. However, Alberta did catch the South Argentinian force off guard. The 5th South Argentinian Interceptor Squadron was shot down while vacating the area. The same approach would be used up and down the coast on smaller targets attempting to reinforce Fort David. As Phase 3 drew to an end, King Congo deployed the RLF Air Force en masse to distract the elites from the now disembarking troops. To achieve this goal, King Congo and Mattis, in command of the North Argentinian Air Force and the Texas Air Force respectively, engaged elite troops in the north, thus drawing out the Albertan and Mexican Air Force. Due to the fact very few of the elite's armies had been equipped with anti-air guns, they were virtually defenseless to the air, so when King and Mattis showed up, all the available aircraft were sent to the region in their defense. However, due to a sabotage mission ran by the RLF earlier that day, the Mexican air network had been partially severed, thus restricting interceptors from reinforcing until late in the battle. Despite the damage done to the Mexican air network, the elites still initially had a force of 40 air squadrons in the region, comprising of a 50-50 split between tactical bombers and interceptors. On the RLF side, King Congo and Mattis had been able to muster 30 air squadrons, comprised of 10 tactical bombers and 20 interceptors. Despite being outnumbered, the RLF was confident it could claim at least a strategic victory by allowing the RLF troops the chance to land at Fort David uncontested. However, they feared a tactical defeat in the air. As the battle in the sky started to unfold, it became clear that the past day King had spent training Mattis had paid off. Both RLF commanders employed the best tactics to minimize their own losses while maximizing the damage dealt to their enemy. To do this, the RLF used patrol timer resets. The Albertan Air Force did the same. However, the Mexican Air Force was left out of the loop and used direct strike. In doing so, the 10 Mexican air squadrons were effectively attacking 30 RLF air squadrons every time they attacked. Very quickly, the elites lost the advantage in numbers. This did not last long though. Mexico had repaired the damaged air bases and interceptors were moving in to reinforce. King Congo was quick to see the favour tipping back to the elites. King Congo hatched a plan. King Congo and Mattis worked together to use the same tactic the RLF had used to destroy the elite ground units. While Mattis was engaging Harrow, King Congo slipped out and positioned his aircraft on a patrol on the edge of Harrow's patrol zone, thus making them invisible, and leading Harrow to believe he was only facing Mattis' small group of 10. It worked. Harrow was attacking with a small advantage in numbers, but this was negated by the fact the RLF was on defense, thus the damage output of their tactical bombers was increased. Harrow, being the quick learner he is, caught on quick and adapted and began regularly checking his flanks. The battle raged on as a patrol timer reset battle until the RLF invasion force finished disembarking. At this point, King Congo and Mattis returned to base. While they were able to draw attention away from the landing zone, it came at a cost. King Congo and Mattis had collectively lost 17 air squadrons, but impressively had taken 23 elite air squadrons down with them. As the day drew to an end, RLF troops occupied Fort David and began marching north. The RLF had claimed the day with the capture of Fort David, but it came at a cost. A large portion of the RLF Air Force had been destroyed, and in this war of attrition the RLF knew it could not continue like this. This would force changes in tactics, inter-alliance communications, and the centralization of the RLF Air Command, as the RLF prepared for the second major battle of the war with the elites, the Battle for Managua.